as we come closer to the festive season, which is just a couple of weeks away, in fact lesser than a couple of weeks away, maybe 8 or 9 days away, and we are already into the season, and people are already into shopping and preparing the house, cleaning the houses and preparing for Deepavali, and to usher in the goodness and the auspiciousness, I thought let me focus on a topic which is very, very important for all of us, especially in the light of how we lead our lives nowadays. So it is good to talk about dashas, good to talk about Sade Sati, and talk about Nij Bhangraj Yogas, and talk about our Saturn placements, talk about transits of Jupiter and Saturn and all that. But the key to all of this is our relationships. If our relationships are not strong, if our relationships are not something that bring us comfort, that make us feel secure, then there is a sure shot challenge in our lives. And I feel the most important relationship or relation in our lives is the spouse. In fact, more than the parents, more than the children, more than our siblings, more than any other relationship or relation, the relation with the spouse is most important. And I'll tell you my reasons. When you're born, till about 7 or 8 of years, till we attain that age, we are not very sure of who we are. We are just led by the family. Many times we remember what we did in our childhood only after we are 5 or 6 or 7 sometimes, or maybe from 3 or 4 years. The first 3, 4, 5 years are anyways gone. Till 6 years maybe they are gone. We don't even remember what we did, where we did, or we remember very little of that. After that, from age of 7 to 14, 15 maybe, we are in complete control of our parents. We are led by them. Most of activities are around our parents or around our siblings or around the school, and some part of it is around friends. But the freedom that we have is only very, very limited, and most of the time whatever we do is more or less led by what our parents tell us. But when we reach our teenage years, maybe from 13, 14, 15 onwards, we start to become more and more independent. And nowadays we depend more on friends' counsel rather than parents, because we think parents probably don't know as much as our friends know, or our teachers know, and or the experts in the field know about what to take up, what to seek career options and so forth. And then once we are in the later teen years, we probably get into dating or relationships, and then we get into our careers and our job and then our families. So post our teens, the involvement of our parents in our lives reduces slowly, and then once we get married, it reduces substantially. And then come children later. But if you see, children may come after you're 27 or 28 or 29 or 30, whenever you get married. And then children, well, by the time they reach the teenage years, they start to become independent, and then they go off chasing their own lives, chasing their own streams. So the one person who probably remains with you the longest at your level, shares the most intimate of details, secrets, your aspirations, your strengths, your weakest moments, your strongest moments, your celebrations, all that is spouse. So some of us must have met our childhood sweethearts and then got married to them and then been with them throughout our lives. Some of us may have met them in college during our during our later years when we are in 20, 21, 22 maybe. And then we got married, post we are settled and maybe at 26, 27. So those 5-6 years probably were dating periods. And then we remain with them till 60, 65, 70, 75. So normally the time that we spend with a spouse is about 40 to 45 years if we are stuck with one rather than changing that. But we probably give, I would say, active part of our lives to our parents for about 16 to 17 years, maximum maybe 20 years. And to our children, maybe we may again give almost the same, 20 to 25 years back. That's it. But our spouse gives us more time than our parents and children combined. And she or he knows more, are more involved. Our decision making, our value systems, our responsibilities, our goals, she or he is the part of that. So that's how I'm going to talk about relationships today. Now, why are relationships important or relations important today? Because most of us live in or are part of nuclear families. And so the spouse being the most important relation for us, most of our decisions, everything, or our lives around us, the spouse. And because of the nature of children taking part in so many extracurricular activities and all, what we do with them also is basis what our relationship with the spouses and what the relationship or what the environment in the house is. So what are the aspects of a horoscope? We talk about relationships, and that is the 7th house. If we have a strong 7th house, then a lot of our challenges are taken care of in our relationships. And the 7th house basically leads what kind of relationships we'll have. Strong benefits in their own sign in the 7th house are very, very good for us. However, any afflictions of the 7th house are a challenge and will create challenge in our lives. So let's see what are the results that we get in the 7th house, basis which there may be ups and downs in our lives. So let's start with the challenges first, and then the good news. So any benefic planet which goes into the 7th house, but in an enemy sign or in an inimical sign, they create problems for us. Even benefics like Moon or Venus or Jupiter or Mercury. On the other hand, any malefic going into the 7th house is a challenge, whether it is Rahu or Ketu or Saturn or Sun or Mars. The worst planet to have in an unfriendly sign in the 7th house is Mars. That's why Kuja dosha or Kuja dosha or Manglik is also talked about. Now, just to let you know that the word Manglik doesn't occur in the ancient text. However, it has been seen, it has been researched that Mars present in the 7th house in an inimical sign always gives you almost guaranteed challenges in your personal life. So that is there. Benefics in an unfriendly sign or in an inimical sign or enemy sign, malefics in any sign are not good. They are slightly less challenging, or they give slightly lesser challenges when they are placed in their own signs or friendly signs in the 7th house. But any malefic in the 7th house, irrespective of what sign it is, will give from less to more challenges. That's a given. Sun, even if it's exalted in the 7th house, even if it's placed in its own house, will give challenges, while it may also give you great results. But now what happens is, for a malefic to give better results, in spite of being exalted or in friendly sign in the 7th house, depends a lot on what kind of dilution of their malefic effects is done by either a conjunction with a benefic or an aspect of a benefic. So for instance, if Mars is placed with Moon, then you will have a Chandra Mangal Yoga. But Mars should not be placed in along with Moon in a sign such as fiery sign like a Sagittarius or Aries. It is better that Mars is placed in a friendly sign such as that of Pisces, for example, where the Moon also does very, very well. Then the malefic effects of Mars are reduced substantially, and Moon exerts its effect, the calming effect, the soothing effect, and it is also a Chandra Mangal Yoga. And still, in spite of being a Chandra Mangal Yoga, in spite of it being in Pisces, still there will be some or the other challenges in marriage. And challenges in marriage are rarely avoided. You ask any couple who have gone through no ups and downs, not a single couple will say that it's been flawless marriage and nothing has happened. Why? Because the Grihastha ashram or the 7th house has been called the most auspicious ashrama or the period of life, more than anything else. Baal ashram or even later when you may renounce and become celibate and all that, or you may become a saint or go to the jungles to spend time, as it was being described in the ancient text. So the Grihastha ashrama or the 7th house period is very, very important. So a human being or a couple will be tested irrespective of how the placements are. Very, very rarely will you have that very less troubles have occurred in the couple's life. and that will be more when most of the benefics are placed in the 7th house or aspect the 7th house, or the 7th house is empty with only benefics aspecting it, with no malefic aspects or shadow on the 7th house. Now this is where generic results at a benefic and malefic placement. Now the other is, whenever a planet goes debilitated in the 7th house, then you will face challenges. Or a planet gets combusted in the 7th house, then only you will face challenges. So for example, if Jupiter gets debilitated in the 7th house, in spite of Jupiter being a benefic, it will create problems for you, especially during the Jupiter Dasha and Antardasha. That malefic or challenging results may be reduced if the aspect of Jupiter is of a benefic, such as a Venus or Mercury or Moon. But these three can aspects Jupiter in the 7th house only when they place in the Lagna, and they will bring their own influence on the individual as well. So that is one. So whether it is Jupiter or Mercury or Moon or Venus which are debilitated in the 7th house will give you challenges. Debilitated moon will create challenges in your thought process. You may not be able to think properly. With Jupiter, you may not be able to take wise decisions. With Mercury debilitated, you will be over-analytical, or you will not be able to analyze situations properly, because of which you may face problems in life. With debilitated Venus, either your strength to indulge in passionate sex or intimacy may be reduced, or you may get influenced by others easier, and you may have a roving eye. You are not able to dedicate your life or be loyal enough to one spouse. So there may be various results that you get. Just by Venus being debilitated, we should not reach such a conclusion, but a mixture of various things can happen. So any planet, even if it is a benefic, getting debilitated in the 7th house will create a problem. The other is any planet getting combusted. Even if Jupiter gets combusted because of being very close in degrees to the Sun, within a difference of 2-3 degrees of the Sun from the Sun, or Mercury or Venus, that also creates a problem. And if there are two malefics placed in the house, with one of them debilitated or one of them combusted, then too there will be problems. For example, Sun and Mars both being present in the 7th house, where Mars is also debilitated. For example, in the sign of Cancer. So if Mars and Sun are both placed in the sign of Cancer, then there will be a lot of aggression, over emotionality, over sensitivity, ego battles because of Sun, false pride, thinking that their false pride is self-respect, arrogance, huge ego. These will create problems for the individual. So any malefic goes in the 7th house, even with the benefic, creates problems. More than one malefic will definitely create problems, especially if the malefic is combusting another planet, whether it is a malefic planet or a benefic planet. This is the other thing. Then the situation of the placement of the 7th Lord. Irrespective of how many benefics are there, how well they are placed in the 7th house, if the Lord of the 7th house is very strongly afflicted, then all of the benefics and beneficity or benefics energy will go in minimizing or reducing the ill effects of the 7th house. So say for example, three benefic planets like Jupiter, Moon and Venus, all three go into the 7th house in Pisces. I'm not talking about Mercury because Mercury gets debilitated in Pisces. So let's see Jupiter, Moon and Venus all getting into Pisces. Very good house for all three of them. Jupiter owns that house, Moon does very well in Pisces, and Venus is exalted there. So a lot of money, prosperity, a lot of Jupiter being placed there. It's very good for women especially, because Jupiter also represents the husband for them. And so very good results, auspicious results, love, affection and all that will be definitely there. However, if for instance there is an aspect of malefic on that house, especially of three. So say for example, on this house where Jupiter, Venus and Moon are placed in Pisces, you have the Virgo ascendant will be there, and say Saturn is placed in the 5th house, okay, in Capricorn, and from there it is aspecting the 7th house with its 3rd aspect, plus Rahu is placed in your say 3rd house, and from there it is aspecting the 7th house. So 2 malefic aspects, Saturn with the 3rd aspect and Rahu with the 5th aspect. Then in spite of 3 benefics being there, these malefics will surely create problems. Saturn will slow down the auspicious results. Rahu will give you all sorts of doubts, frustrations, anxiety, more greed from each other. Husband will expect more from spouse, or wife will expect more from husband, and so forth. So this is one malefic aspect on that will be there. And if the 7th lord itself goes and gets afflicted, so even if 3 benefics like Jupiter, Moon and Venus are placed in say Pisces, but so that's one. But if 3 benefics are placed in, but say in Cancer, where Moon, say Venus, Mercury and Jupiter, all 3 are placed there. All 3 do very well in Cancer. Jupiter is in fact exalted. But let's say Moon goes and gets debilitated in Scorpio, which is the 11th house. So if Moon rules the 7th house and goes and gets debilitated in Scorpio in the 11th house, which is also Kama Bhav, the house of the house of desire, which can also be related to you the conjugal relation that you have, especially in your marital life. And then too, all these 3 benefics, Jupiter, Venus, Mercury together, will have to put a lot of energy to overshadow the negative effects of Moon going into the 11th house and the Kama Bhav. So any planet, any 7th lord which gets combusted, gets debilitated, will also be a problem. For example, for Gemini ascendants, Jupiter rules the 7th house, which is Sagittarius sign. And if Jupiter, being the lord of the 7th house, goes into the 8th house in Capricorn and gets debilitated there, 7th lord going to the 8th house will be a huge problem for the marriage. In fact, it could be a big problem for having a proper life with the husband, especially for women, especially for Gemini women. This is a very, very, very negative placement of Jupiter in the 8th house if it's debilitated. And if it has a malefic aspect on it, like a Ketu or a Saturn or a Rahu, then it could be even more serious. So normally when such a placement occurs, astrologers have to think twice before recommending marriage to such an individual, unless a benefic aspect is on Jupiter, which is from the 2nd house, either of Moon or Mercury or Venus. Then the challenges may be reduced to a large extent, but they may not go completely. Or if Saturn aspects it, it could also be a Neej Bhang Rajyog, but it has to aspect not the 7th house, it has to aspect the 8th house on Jupiter. Then Jupiter will still give challenges, but its challenging results will get reduced because it is in a Neej Bhang now. So for example, if Saturn is placed in the 6th house, in Scorpio, and from there it is aspecting the 8th house where Jupiter is debilitated, and Jupiter being the lord of the 7th house, then it creates a Neej Bhang Raj Yoga with Jupiter. There Jupiter's ill effects will be reduced, however there will still be challenges. So this is the other thing. So whenever the 7th lord goes in any house and gets debilitated or combusted, you will also face challenges. So these are 7th house results. The other is the 4th house is the house of your domestic peace and mental happiness. Or you can put it the other way around. Domestic happiness and mental peace. And if it is that, who brings happiness in the house? The women in the house are primarily the reason why a house can be called as a home. And spouse is one of the most important women in the house. And if you have a problem with your spouse, then your 4th house will surely show afflictions. Or if your 4th house shows affliction, then there will surely be a problem with in your house, in your domestic life. So there should be no affliction of the 4th house. Neither any malefic aspect should be there, or malefic should be placed there, or benefics placed in a inimical sign there, or 2 or 3 malefic aspects on it or placed inside that should also not be there. And the third is the 2nd house. Now if you see from the 1st house up till the 7th house, these are all called personal region. The 8th house to the 12th house is external to your personal life, whereas your 1st house till your 7th house is your personal life. First is your own self, second house is your dependents, third house is the house of siblings and karma, fourth house is mother, domestic life. We can also constitute relation with spouse, mental peace. Fifth house is the house of romance, house of children. Sixth house is the house of service. Some part of it is external, but it is also the house of loss of spouse. So the sixth house has to be good if you have to have a good long relation and stable relationship with your spouse. So that is the third thing. Which second house has to be good and strong. Otherwise, the immediate dependence on you in the house may get afflicted. The earnings can get afflicted or reduced, because of which there may be problems in the domestic life also. The third thing is, or the fourth thing is the karma house. We just talked about the third house. We also know that the seventh house is also the house of karma. Apart from that, the 11th house is also the house of karma. Karma is desire. Desire is also connected to your sexual urges, which you satisfy normally with your spouse or in a long-term committed relationship. So these three also should not be afflicted. If these three are afflicted, then while other things in the marriage may be good, but you may not be able to enjoy sexual intimacy or intimate relationships as much as you desire with your spouse. So this can happen. And the other thing is the 12th house. The 12th house is also known as the house of bed pleasures. Very strong 12th house afflictions may give you the urge, but you may not be able to satisfy that urge because of various reasons, which may also be impotency and other things, or premature ejaculation, or those sorts of things where the desire is there, but the conclusion or completion or execution of the desire doesn't help you or doesn't support you. So this can either be from the 8th house afflictions, which is the house of your external sexual organ, or it can also be through the 12th house, which may also give you. So various houses and various afflictions can give different results in your committed relationships. Strong afflictions of the 5th house can result in romantic liaisons leading to marriage, but also continuing after marriage, even maybe outside of your relationship, which may also create problems in your committed relationship. So one has to look at all these houses and conclude whether your love life plus or your committed relationships are good or not. Now, why am I talking about 7th house as relationships house? Because the spouse is the most important relation, but it is also the house of day-to-day other people that you meet, including your business partners or partners at work. And that's why this is also important, because strong afflictions of the 7th house can also give you challenges in your business and your relationships, especially in any partnership role that you do, whether you're partnering or a part of a team or you're having a business. So these can be there. So, and last I'm talking about the Lagna, the most important house. If the Lagna is severely afflicted, then you may have such challenges where the mental peace is destroyed, because of which you are not able to give your best to the spouse, or your health is destroyed, because of which again you are not able to participate with the spouse in a general manner where you are able to help in the house, you are able to attract better income. Your health may not be good enough, because of which you are not able to have a good conjugal relation with your spouse also. The last, if your reputation is soiled because the Lagna is severely afflicted, apart from disease or challenges, accidents may also happen, plus your reputation in society may also go down, because of which the trust is lost between the spouses, and because of which the marriage is not very smooth. So these are the generic results or the placements because of which relationships can be affected, leading to challenges in the relations. Now, what to do best? There are various remedies for having better relation. The first thing is, any afflictions of the 7th house, do mantras of that house or the planet, or donate food, or give some donations and or fast on those days. For Mars, fast on Tuesdays. Donate or feed the poor, and so forth. Some books also talk about feeding animals like cows, crows, birds, and so forth. So those also can be done. However, the best remedy that I've seen of the 7th house is behavioral one, where if you are able to control your behavior, where you say that, okay, come what may, I will not scream and shout at my spouse. I will give him or her patient hearing. I may not agree with what they are saying, but I will try and understand. Even if I don't agree, I will at least empathize with their thought process rather than putting them down. I'll be more patient. Try and be more loving and supportive, and we will act as a team. As long as these 3 or 4 things are done, and you keep the sanctity of the relationship, you don't indulge in any unethical conduct, and stand by a spouse, whether man or woman, and give them the respect that if you give them respect, everybody else respects them also. These are a few things which are important, but the most important part is the behavioral part in ensuring that you have good relations. So as we get into the festive season, please make a note of what your placements are, what you need to do to make this coming festival a great festival for you, and in advance from your astrologer friend and guide Irfan, a very, very happy festival time. May the lights destroy all evil in your life, and may you do very well. If you're looking for a consultation for me, please reach out to me on the email ID given in the links below. Please like this video, please subscribe to this channel, please press the bell icon so that you get to know when my new video is coming. And till we meet some other time with some other new learning, this is your astrologer friend and guide Irfan signing off. Ciao.